And all of a sudden Tyson's like, "Jourdan, get out." And I'm like, "What do you mean, get out?" Okay, so our first tip to finding your dream property is to pay off your debt. So I know that's not what you want to hear because you want to be in that place, but the thing is this is going to enable you to get there so much faster, and you will actually be able to enjoy things once you do get there.
Yeah, because you don't really realize how much money it takes to do a homestead. If you don't pay off all your debt first, you get to the land and you're still in debt, and then you need a chainsaw, you need a tractor, you need a bobcat, you need pigs. Like, that all costs money.
You want to set yourself up for success so that when you do get to the place where you're ready to buy that homestead, there's not a chain around your ankle. I know you'll hear that a lot from other homesteaders, is that this is an expensive lifestyle, and you just want to be prepared for that.
Only 3 payments of $19.95, and this karate mat could be yours.
Sir, I'm on a budget. Okay, so we started our debt-free journey really when we were saving for our wedding. We decided, we wanted to be able to pay cash for our wedding, and so we just figured out how much we could save by the time we had just decided on our wedding date, and we made that happen. So we had to cut out our gym membership and lots of things, but essentially then once we got married, everything, all the money we'd been saving towards our wedding, we just started putting it at debt, and we were able to pay it off a lot faster because once you kind of get the ball rolling,
it's literally like a snowball effect.
Yeah, so we followed Dave Ramsey and we did the debt snowball, and honestly, this wind, the debt snowball for Dave Ramsey did make it easier for us. Tyson was kind of nervous about it, but then once we started doing it and he started seeing we were making progress, it really motivated us, and we just continue to remember our goals as a couple.
Yeah.
And that made it easy to sacrifice. You just have to continually remember what you want, and for us it was the homestead, and I'm assuming if you're watching this video, that's what you want too. So check out Dave Ramsey, get on a zero-based budget.
So step number 2 in the process is savings. I am the saver of the group here.
Yes.
Miss Shoppy Shopperton over here. I'm gonna see you. I'm gonna know what you're doing. So basically what we did is her sold everything in our house. Before we sold the house, we literally sold everything in it, including the kitchen table.
And everything you were putting at debt, you just keep using that money, but you just put it in savings. And it can get kind of hard because you don't feel like it's as actionable at the time, but you need to figure out how much money do you need for a down payment. We chose to pay cash if we were going to buy land, so we knew we wanted to have enough cash saved up for the land that we would want to purchase.
And step number 3 is drive around and look at property. Don't just take what you see online on the real estate apps and stuff like that as really what they look like, because we found ours on a real estate app and it looked terrible. We were not a fan of it at all, but we just went and looked at it anyway.
Yeah, and I think a huge part of driving around and looking at properties isn't just seeing the property for what it is, but seeing what's around the property, how long, is the gravel road to get there, how far is it from town, what does the town look like, and really just seeing all that, because that's going to make a huge difference. I know we were really excited about a property that we looked at the same day as this one, and it was an hour of gravel roads to get there, and we had no idea until we went out and actually tried to drive there. And so that's just a huge way to kind of get a better grasp on where you want to live too, and if there's a reason why the property is so cheap, because maybe it's not in a great area. So step number 4 is have a vision.
Babe, look at these beautiful tires I found. We can do so much stuff with this.
Babe, we're supposed to be looking at the land.
Oh, it's pretty too.
You're gonna look at a lot of different properties probably, and not all of them are going to look ready for you to move your homestead to
Yeah,
or start your homestead.
Not all properties are created equal.
No, definitely not. And man, I'm out of breath. So when you go to look at properties, they're probably going to be grown up. They're going to need a lot of work, but you should be excited about that, because it's just like a fixer-upper house.
Yep.
You're going to get a fixer-upper property, like piece of land, for way cheaper too.
And you're putting that, you know, blood and sweat equity into this thing, so it makes you feel better about yourself. Like, you make it look the way that you want it to look, not how somebody else envisioned it. This is your vision.
Yeah, so even if there is infrastructure on the property, take stock of all of that, but also know that like you can create in time anything that you want with that property.
So whenever we first purchased the land, we really had no clue that there was a creepy abandoned house that was on the land until we started walking around.
You took me out here to like kind of actually show me around the first time, because I had only walked like down the driveway basically.
Yeah, and there was some like we were inside this house, and whenever you say house, it's not really a house. It's almost like a shed with like a kitchen sink kind of thing. But anyway, so we were inside this thing. We heard a bunch of random noises, thought it was a person squatting in our house. Jourdan, I said, get out. So she took off running and left me there.
No, so this is what really happened. We're like walking in the house, and I'm already like on high alert, because I'm like, this house is like, it just gives you the heebie-jeebies, because like there's beer bottles everywhere and like wasp spray, and it's just like there's, you know, like the roof is falling in, so you're like, either like I'm just gonna die in this house, like because like something's gonna get me, or like the roof's gonna cave in. So I'm just like creeping in, and all of a sudden Tyson's like, get out. And I'm like, what do you mean get out? So I like go stand outside, and I'm just like, why am I getting out? Like, he's still in there. Like, I did hear like what he heard before he said that was like this like and it was like someone breathing, and I was like, for sure there's a person in there, and like it's probably someone on drugs, like just squatting. Like, my mind went through like worst case scenario. Tyson came out and he was like, oh, it's all good, it was just like a possum or something. And I'm like, you know.
Anyway, so after all of that happened, she wanted to revamp the house and actually live in it instead of building our own house. And thank God.
Well, lumber was expensive.
Yeah, lumber is expensive, but thank God I was able to talk her out of that, because I feel like we would have had to destroy that entire house and start over anyway. And so
that's basically what we're doing.
The foundation of it wasn't even good. So yeah. So step 5 is negotiate.
Hello, yeah, we'd like to place an offer on the property that you have for sale.
They said, how much? We accept.
They accepted.
Whenever we first looked at this property, it was well over our budget. We knew it was well over our budget, but once we came out here and seen it, we fell in love with it. So we just went in with what we had. Like the cash that we had saved up from selling the house, and, you know, saved up by living with my grandma. No, you know, so like I said, we knew what we had, and so we just took that money we had, put it on the table, and just prayed and hoped for the best, and it worked out in our favor.
Yeah, I mean, and we did look at some comps with our realtor, and she felt pretty confident too. One thing that she told us is that when you're going in for raw property, it's not the same sting as like if you were putting a low ball bid on like a house, someone like where they've grown up and lived their whole life, that you can kind of get away with being a little more aggressive in your offer. And so
such a good point.
We did, and like it really worked well for us. I'm sure we could have got in full price if we wanted to get a loan, but you know, we knew what we had, and so we went for it.
All that to be said, you can do the exact same. Don't let a price scare you away. Don't let an overrun property scare you away. Don't let an abandoned creepy house scare you away. You do you, man, and make the property yours.